In a move that has reignited debates over federal authority, civil liberties, and the militarization of domestic law enforcement, former President Donald Trump has ordered the deployment of federal troops to Portland, Oregon, as well as to select Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) facilities across the United States. The decision, announced late Saturday night, has already sparked widespread criticism from local leaders, civil rights organizations, and immigrant advocates who accuse Trump of escalating tensions rather than addressing underlying issues. According to senior administration officials, the deployment will involve units of the National Guard and specialized federal officers from the Department of Homeland Security (DHS). While Trump and his allies argue the measure is necessary to restore law and order amid growing unrest, many local officials in Portland, a city with a long history of political activism and frequent clashes between demonstrators and law enforcement, have condemned the move as an unconstitutional overreach. The president framed the decision as a response to what he described as anarchists, radical leftists, and criminal gangs undermining security in Portland. He linked the unrest to broader opposition against ICE facilities nationwide, where immigration enforcement practices have faced sustained protests in recent years. Trump declared that his administration will not tolerate attacks on federal property or attempts to obstruct lawful immigration enforcement. This is not the first time Portland has become a flashpoint under Trump's presidency. During the summer of 2020, Portland was the scene of large-scale Black Lives Matter demonstrations that drew national attention after DHS deployed federal agents to the city without local consent. Those deployments led to violent confrontations, viral images of protesters being pulled into unmarked vans, and a wave of lawsuits claiming violations of civil liberties. Critics argue Trump's latest move is a continuation of that hardline approach, designed to project strength while undermining democratic norms. Civil rights advocates, including the American Civil Liberties Union (ACLU), have condemned the order, vowing to challenge it in court. "This is not about protecting public safety," said an ACLU spokesperson. "This is about silencing dissent and intimidating immigrant communities." Several advocacy groups also pointed out that ICE facilities have been frequent targets of peaceful protests, vigils, and sit-ins, arguing that deploying military troops is a disproportionate and dangerous escalation. Portland's mayor and Oregon's governor both issued sharp rebukes. Governor Tina Kotek called the deployment a reckless abuse of power that will only inflame tensions, while Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler accused Trump of using federal forces as political props to rally his base. Both vowed not to cooperate with federal officers, echoing the standoff that occurred during Trump's first term when state leaders attempted to limit the presence of DHS personnel. Meanwhile, supporters of the decision, including several Republican lawmakers, applauded Trump's move as a necessary show of force. They argue that violent protests, vandalism, and attacks on federal buildings cannot be tolerated and that local leaders in Portland have repeatedly failed to maintain order. "The president is right to act when others won't," one GOP senator said, framing the deployment as a defense of law-abiding Americans. The deployment to ICE facilities also raises broader questions about the future of U.S. immigration enforcement. Trump has long championed a hardline stance on immigration, advocating mass deportations, strict border controls, and expanded detention centers. Critics worry that militarizing ICE facilities could further intimidate immigrant communities and erode public trust. Some analysts warn that the move may be intended as a test case for wider use of federal troops in domestic settings, something traditionally avoided under U.S. law. The coming weeks are likely to see heightened tensions in Portland and at ICE facilities nationwide as federal troops arrive. Protests are already being organized by immigrant rights groups, unions, and student activists, many of whom view Trump's decision as an attack on constitutional freedoms. Legal challenges are also expected, potentially setting up another round of courtroom battles over the limits of presidential authority. For Trump, the decision may serve both political and symbolic purposes. By deploying troops, he reinforces his law and order image to his supporters, while simultaneously drawing sharp contrast with opponents who advocate for police reform and immigrant protections. But the risks are high. The last time Trump sent federal forces into Portland, public opinion polls showed a majority of Americans opposed the move, viewing it as heavy-handed. If history repeats itself, this latest deployment may once again deepen divisions across the country.